Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestle Plug podcast. I'm the most unprofessional wrestler you'll ever meet, Aeron. But if there's someone who could run me close to being highly unprofessional in a very good sense, it would, of course, be Ebeneeza The Geeza. My guest today, returning to the podcast, the first time on video, sir. And before we get into it, I should let people know that he is a smooth drinker of Bacardi Breezer. He hits harder than a fridge freezer. He makes them gush like an American geezer. Not that one, the one that sprays. You know what I'm talking about. The late night to early morning teaser, the panty line creaser, the consensual asset squeezer, the modern day Julius Caesar, Ebeneeza The Geeza.
Full-time geezer. It's full-time. We don't do things by half around here.
It's a life.
It is a life. How we doing, man? All right?
Yeah, not bad, mate. It's lovely to have you back. Now, obviously, last time I had you on, nice, honest, to the point podcast. You, very much like myself, like upsetting people by telling the truth. We live in a world where telling the truth upsets people. So I look forward to this podcast, riling a few monkeys up. Try not to die while I do it. So yeah, since we've had you back on, you've been going out and getting into a venture of whatnot. Now, for the people who probably have only just tuned into our YouTube channel, just briefly tell them what they can expect from Ebeneeza The Geeza in the wrestling world.
Well, to be fair, like last time I was on, I mentioned that going forward, I probably will be doing a lot of stuff on the microphone, being manager, being MC, whatever, really. But there are a lot of places that still want me to wrestle, and if you're going to get me to wrestle, all you're going to get is just comedy. Like that's practically all I am, is just walking around with the $1 million man strut, the old Cockney walk, just like if I'm a heel, calling people knobheads, and if I'm a good person, all I got to do is shout oi oi and people lap it up. Like it's just a fantastic thing that I never touched into until I started doing the wrestling thing, and it's I'm very glad for wrestling for like making me realize who I really am, and that is the geezer you see to here today.
Yeah, professional wrestling's brought out the best of your personality that you already knew was available to you. Same as myself, same as most wrestlers who find any degree of success. Most people watching this will already know the kind of person you are. So obviously we're going to be leaning this one more towards CWP Reborn, but something that I do want to spend good time talking about is your brand new company, your brand new adventure in the world of entrepreneurial business that is, of course, Win Clothing. Take us down the line, give us the sales pitch, but most importantly, tell us what Win Clothing is about and what you're hoping to do with your new brand of clothing.
So I'll start off with like how we brought it out. So it's me and my best friend Joe. It's always been my best friend, or like he's one of the best people that I know in the world. He's more of a brother to me than a friend. And it was his idea. His last name is Winslade, and he always wanted to do something to do with clothing. And he came up with the idea of Win. And because of like money troubles, he said it will take years until it would finally progress or even start. So I turned around to him and I said, well, why don't I soften the blow? We'll do this together. I'll put in half and take half the risk. And, you know, it will still be his thing. But, you know, I'll just be, say, like a backseat buyer. I'll be like a promoter for it and things like that. And say, I think it's taken us about a year, and within the next 2-3 weeks, hopefully we can start going viral and start selling all of our stuff. At the moment, we've only got hats and t-shirts, but we do have plans for more stuff, beanies, jumpers, tracksuits. Down the line, we'll want to do a female stuff, men's stuff, you name it. Like, and my idea is like we're going to have the Win Clothing itself, but then I want to do something off the back of it, more like a sports kind of thing, gym wear, golf. I don't know, maybe a couple of bits for wrestling. We'll see what happens down the line, but it's all future goals than it is right now. Right now, we're just waiting to get it off the bat. Now, with Win itself, it's one of them marketing tools where once someone says, I don't know, let's say, for example, you've got things like Fred Perry, an absolute giant of a man, one of the greatest tennis players. And look at it now. There was a clothing brand after him, and it's absolutely shot through the roof. You've got Nike, you've got Adidas, you've got things like that. We want to be one of those giants, and what better to call it than Win? Because in effect, what do you want out of life? You want to be a winner. You want to win your own life, and you want to show people how good your life is. So, like, it's a great marketing technique, and I don't like to call people losers, and I don't like to tell, like, I don't want to go through the whole thing of, oh, are you a winner or a loser, or things like that, because sometimes it can come across shitty. But effectively, if you want to get somewhere in life, you have to have a winning attitude. Like, lazy people won't get anywhere. And this is why you've got to work your bollocks off, and you've got to, like, do this, like, have that winning attitude. And, like, I feel at this moment in time, my life is going somewhere. At the moment, I've got the Win clothing brand coming out. I've just become a HGV driver, got my own podcast called Perspective Podcast. What else is there? I'm living on my own for the minute until my missus decides to move in down the line, and even then, she is one of the biggest winners that I know at this moment in time. You know, she's just got her driving license. She's got the job of her dreams. She's moving down with me. Like, everything in my life at the moment is a winning aspect, and I cannot believe how, say, a year, 2 years ago, I was in depression on the brink of darkness, and now nothing's going wrong and I can't be any happier. I'm in the best health and the best shape of my life at the moment. Shape wise, not so much, because I've got a little bit of a pouch going on, but that once I've finished a couple of debts, I'll start getting back into the gym, and I will get into a better shape. But that's not important. What's important is the mindset, and my mind is absolutely soaring through the roof.
Yeah, I know so many people with fitness, they all say, like, you can have a healthy body, but you need a happy mind to have a healthy body. Yeah, everything starts with the brain. Everything starts, like you say, with mentality. I like the line about hard work as well, because it's a question I wanted to ask you. So Win obviously is a brand, and you're hoping it's going to be a big brand. I like the fact you use Fred Perry, because that was the one I was going to liken it to. I hope that little W is going to end up looking a little bit like the little sort of laurels that you get for Fred Perry. That's what you want. You want something simple, effective. I never enjoy anything that's way too over the top, over detailed, over customized. I know people would be like, well, look at the fucking state of what you're wearing. I was like, yeah, this is just casual wear and stuff like that, but it means something to me, or it's something that kind of can, you know, really kind of almost translate my personality into what people see, so that they can look at a brand of clothing and say, oh, Win clothing, pretty obvious what that's about. Are you worried? Because I know you mentioned, like, obviously win loser mentality. It's not nice to call people losers. Some people have, like you say, we've both had dark times and difficult times, close to the brink, and having to bring ourselves back, with both of us doing different things in terms of brands and entrepreneurial attitudes, and trying to drive and become better. And obviously you're very close to my process and vice versa, so that's always nice. So we've got that kind of, you can bounce off of it. I think it's very important to bounce off of people who are creative and strong-willed and strong-minded and driven to achieve. Because you know, if you let's be honest, if you hang out with people who don't want to do anything, then you'll just end up with that mindset, or it will seep into you via osmosis.
100%.
Are you worried that people might perceive the brand as not obnoxious, but maybe a little bit above them in the sense of, you know, oh, it's for winners, or is it a case of anyone can get a win or anyone could be a winner? So the idea of the clothing is more on the other side of things to drive people towards winning themselves.
See, I think it's one of those things where it's all on perspective in that kind of thing. So like with me, like you say, win is a brand and it's supposed to be something positive, you know, like winning is a positive thing, losing is a negative thing. But then you've got life quotes like you've got to fail to succeed in the end. You've got to take one step backwards to take two step forwards and all of that fucking shit, whatever you want to call it. But you say that it might come across obnoxious to some people, but then in my opinion, the people that is coming across obnoxious too need that kick up the ass to say it's not. If you want to win in life, then you've got to do something about that. You can't sit on your ass and expect millions to come into your bank account. You can't expect to sit on your ass and say, oh, this is the life. I love this. No, you've got to get out, get off your ass. You've got to do something, you know, whether that's saving money in your day-to-day job, staying in and not drinking anymore, you know, and cutting out money on drugs and things like that. Everybody does it. Not me personally. I've never done drugs. That's only because of like medical shit and what have you. But that's not the point.
Like the qualifier there, only because.
Yeah. Like,
otherwise, I'll be smashing lines on this very podcast. Come on!
That's what a geezer does, isn't it?
I'll plug your wrestle. I'm ready.
But my point is, like, too many people nowadays make excuses and think that a strongly worded tweet is going to change their lives because people, like, the amount of likes that they get change their lives. No, it doesn't. Like, if anything, places like Twitter are just a platform for people to, it's more like a cult, in my opinion. Like, and I was watching Dave Chappelle's new special yesterday, and he said it correctly. Like, he said there was people calling him out on Twitter, and he said, I don't give a fuck because Twitter's not real life. And I thought, well, that's essentially what it is. Like, there's no point worrying about what happens on social media because that ain't real life. The same as like wrestling. Part of it is real life. You can put your emotion into it. You can put your body into it. You know, it's a great place to be. But effectively, if I'm going to go in to a wrestling gig, someone wants me to be a heel, and I start looking at one person in the audience and starts calling them an arsehole and a cunt, I don't think that in real life. Absolutely not. I'm a people pleaser. I love to make people happy, but some people enjoy that thrill of being called an arsehole, and me one of them. But I don't find the brand obnoxious whatsoever. It's, if anything, it's more a positive take. And if you can't take the positive out of being a winner, that's down to you. Anyone can wear a win t-shirt, but it's more or less, it's more of a thought process. It's more of a perspective. You know, it's one of those things where if people hear the word win, we want them to have that uplift and say, it is what I want to be in life, and it's not us looking down on people because we're not that kind of people. But that, like, it is what it is. Again, it's all on perspective. It's all on what other people think about, not what we think about. Our idea is just to give people positivity, give people a winning attitude whilst wearing our stuff, and, you know, being happy about wearing our stuff. You know, whenever I wear one of our t-shirts or one of our hats now, I do that because I want to promote our brand, but I also feel like a winner as it is. Like I said earlier, like, I'm in the best mindset of my life, and wearing this brand has helped that as well, because I really do feel like a winner.
Well, yeah, it's any brand that's made, whether it be a huge success or any kind of traction whatsoever, is a sense of pride and achievement. The reason I asked the question about whether people might take the wrong meaning from it. Obviously, that isn't reflective of you and your brand, but it's important. As you know, I'm going to ask you the hard-hitting questions. This ain't loose women, sweethearts.
What's the point in having an interview if you can't ask the core questions that everybody really wants to know?
Yeah, and I want people to know your brand personally
just
as well.
ask me in an interview. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's important that people know what the brand. So okay, anyone can bring out a t-shirt with a W on it, and that's great. But for me, I know that your brand has a lot more in it, and you and Joe have put a lot of time and mental strength into it. And that is where brands for me come to the forefront, because it's an honest brand as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any details you can give us in terms of like pricing, when things will start dropping, any kind of juicy gossip in terms of when we can get our hands on some sick little merch?
So we've done all of our photography stuff, and half of them have all been edited. We still need to do a couple more photos of the clothes without models in them, so just like back shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And of course, you've done one of our designs for us, which is a sick little design, to be fair, and it's one of our favorite ones. And again, that's another thing that we love about all of this as well, is we haven't gone out of our way to ask some random person what we know has done stuff. I personally chose you because I want to help you out as a very good friend, but not only that, I know that your stuff is sick, and I want your stuff to then succeed as well as we do, because going forward we'll use you for more designs, because we know that you've done some sick stuff, and we've already used it on one of our t-shirts. But going forward, our hats should be around 25, our t-shirts should be about 20. And then once we start earning money out of that, we're not going to profit out of it. It's just going to keep going back into production until we have, say, a set clothing stuff, and possibly get a shop or whatever. Like, it's all ideas down the road, but we'll see what happens when it comes to it. But hopefully going forward, 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, it will all launch. It all depends when we get the t-shirts back, the photos back, and it all depends how quick we can get the website fixed.
Well, you always have a home to promote stuff on here, sir, and thank you for your very humbling words. I take great pride in helping people, and as you know, I'm very affordable as well. I believe that my tagline has always been graphics that look the business but don't cost the business. I'm not in interest. Obviously, I need to make money to pay bills, so I'm not going to be ignorant towards people. But I also want to know that anyone who uses me gets incredible value for money and gets incredible quality for their money as well. I don't think you should have to sacrifice an extraordinary amount of your time and your bank account to have something professional in front of you, which is why I charge what I do. And that's reflective in your clothing. And as somebody who's actually had a chance to cop a feel of the merch, it's very nice. It's very high quality. It's reflective of the strength, the power, and the mental effort that's gone into making the brand look the way it is. So I look forward to it. Now, perspective is quite a key word. Your podcast, the perspectives, perspective. They love a perspective over there. You and Joe have decided to take a venture into the podcasting world as well, and you've done this podcast, and it comes with a great deal of refreshing honesty, much like Wrestle Plug does, and I'm happy to brag about that on this format, because I believe that you get the most honest take on wrestling in the business here, and I ask questions that nobody else asks, because I'm not here to waste people's time. I'm here to offer them a completely different storyline and a different take, a fresh perspective of their own to delve into. And that's what your podcast does. Now, yours is very much a lifestyle podcast. It's talking about everything that, comes across in the world. It's not about a specific topic. Whereas we'll focus obviously on wrestling. You'll focus on life and the arguments that are drawn from life, the debates that are drawn from life, the topics. First of all, you enjoying the process, and also the podcast itself. I know it's on a slight hiatus while you're dealing with business and things of that nature. Is it something that you plan to be long term?
Hopefully it will be sort of long term. we started it back in February, and it was my little brother that sort of gave me the push to do so, because he got for my birthday in January, he got me a microphone, and he gave me a link for Audacity, what we use for the podcast's editor. And he basically said, good luck in the future with it. And then I thought, do you know what? That's the kick I need, because I was always saying I want to do it, I need to do it, but I never made them steps to buy a microphone or have a look on Google to see what editors there are, what websites to put it up on. And when he done that, I thought, right, now it's time to actually get going. And when we did, like you say, it's to the core kind of thing. Like, we swear on there, it's part of life. I don't get these places that are all PC, because to me it's not genuine. Like, sometimes you need to throw a few fucks in there just for people to know how passionate you are about it. And it's, like you say, it's called perspective, because I hate the world we live in where, say, and I use Twitter as an example because we get a lot of our stuff off of Twitter, and most of it is all perspectives. And what I hate about it is the perspective that it leans towards is the lefties perspective, and I don't like that, because a lot of people on Twitter will say something about a certain someone or a certain thing that's happened on the day. Everyone will lose their absolute minds on it, and then you've got people out of the woodworks that never even knew a single thing about it and just jump on the bandwagon rather than taking a step back, going, is that really how it is? Or, is there more in depth to it? You're just being a fanny. Like, you're just jumping on the bandwagon. Like, I put up a tweet the other day saying, like, and it's to do with main life, but in a way, when the Speak Out and the Me Too movement come around, it was sort of one of those that I thought about. And it was when you get an article, and it was about Tessa Blanchard, actually, and there was something that said she allegedly was racially abusive to a certain someone. Can't remember the woman's name, but it said shit like the key word there was allegedly. And everyone was losing their mind saying that she was a racist piece of shit. And all I thought was, there's a word in there called allegedly. That basically means no one knows whether it's true. No one knows whether it's a lie. And it's the exact same with the Speak Out and the Me Too, because there were so many people that were alleged rapists, alleged abusers, alleged this and alleged that. And all I thought was, you can't get your pitchforks out. You can't beat people with a stick because they've been alleged. And I think I spoke to you about it on the last podcast. Like, I've been an alleged abuser beforehand, and I had to make my case to get myself out of shit that I shouldn't have even been involved in. And I feel sorry for some people, but then other people, you can look at them and say, well, they're not defending themselves, they must have given up, or things along them kind of lines. And perspective was my way of basically saying, these are my ideas, these are my thoughts, these are Joe's thoughts. We're allowed to have these thoughts. If you don't like them, that's entirely up to you. We're not going to be preaching about things that we believe in. It's just our opinion. You can have your own opinion, and everyone's entitled to an opinion. No one's wrong and no one is right. It's one of those things. But what people need to realize is opinions are okay. Your own opinion is okay. You need to stop preaching to people that their opinion is wrong, because that is the wrong attitude. And in my opinion, that is a losing attitude, because if you don't listen to people, if you don't let people in, then you're just gonna be hated for being ignorant. And in a lefty world, in my opinion, they're the what's the word? I don't know what the word is, but I just don't listen to them, because why should I? They don't listen to people. They don't listen to the right side of the argument. They're just like, oh, but they did this, so that must be a kosher. And I'm just like, not really. Like, there's so many examples that I could give, but I don't want to get myself into trouble, you see.
I mean, I don't mind. I've got myself in trouble a lot on this podcast. I don't subscribe to left or right theory. I subscribe to factual-based theory or factual-based opinions. So I try not to say that all of my opinions are factually based, to say that I am looking to get the closest to a factual demographic when I speak. So if for instance, I spoke on the Tessa Blanchard subject ad nauseum on one of my recent podcasts. And I said that, first of all, there is no actual factual evidence other than testimony of other people as to what she may or may not have done, like you say. And that is why the word allegedly is used, ladies and gentlemen. That's common law practice. You don't have to get a law degree to know that. That's what allegedly means. There is, until there is, correct evidence and it is proven in a court of law, it should be alleged. Therefore, you are not guilty of anything. You are allegedly, people are essentially suggesting you have done something. And my opinion was that unless she had done something untoward to the point that it would jeopardize her ability to work going forward, she should have an opportunity to work at some point down the line. That infuriated a lot of people. I almost feel like she got the Gina Carano treatment in a lot of ways, which is very unfortunate, because from what I can tell, both women are incredibly nice human beings overall. Nice human beings make horrible mistakes too. Nice human beings say bad things.
Yeah, they're incredibly talented. And unfortunately, the people that are at the height of their careers are the most watched. And once they do something wrong, the lefties won't fucking let it go. Yeah. And once they try coming back in, like Tesla's, it was announced the other day, she's going to be part of the Women of Wrestling roster when it comes back next year. And a lot of people were furious about that. And I thought, well, this alleged stuff happened, this year, last year? Like, that would be 2-3 years apart. Are people not allowed to go through life and change their attributes, change the way they think and live? Are people not allowed to make mistakes? Like every human being does it. Every human being in their life makes a mistake, no matter how bad it is. Like, we're allowed to have second chances. And that's one thing that I am very much big on as well, is people can change and people do deserve second chances. Sometimes 3, depending what has happened or who it is, it could be 4. You can give someone so many chances and they keep fucking up until you decide, nah, they're not worth my time. But things like, I don't know, pedophiles, I don't believe that they deserve second chances. But then in another light, you think apparently it's a mental illness now. Like there are things along that you could think it could be, but then who wants to go down that rabbit hole of now starting to give pedophiles an excuse? Like there's no right and wrong in the world. It's just very walking on thin glass kind of stuff.
There's a lot of shades of grey everywhere. There's no black or white really in situations. No. I'm of the opinion that the opportunities and the second chances are dependent on your crime and what you've done. For case in point, for Tessa Blanchard, using the N-word is not great. That demands a societal apology. That demands an apology. Now, Tessa Blanchard has come out and vehemently denying anything. She's saying, absolutely not. Like, I have not done that. And also, we don't know what she might have done in private. She may have addressed the situation in private, the individual in private. We don't know any of that. What we are presented with social media is the fine screen that you put over a window, that little bit of film, and that's all you get. But you don't see beyond that. You get literally the first layer. It's like a human being. I can see that I'm a human being. I can see my skin. The state of my organs have to, it takes a lot of, personalized details and equipment and professionalism to see what's going on beyond that. You don't get to just make those judgments based on what you see through the window. There's a lot of inner workings. There's a lot of cogs. When you look at a clock, it may seem absolutely fine. You could open it up and find there are gears missing, all sorts of different things. Things have been replaced over time, you know, and that's what life is like. Like you said, social media isn't real. It's not. It's a fake world where people can represent themselves in a way that they seem to think is good for them. But it's also a world, rather dangerously, where because people can hide behind fake personas and things of that nature, if they don't present themselves as real, like I do, for instance, or yourself on our own social medias, those people can then use that as a platform to, you know, benefit themselves in very narcissistic and very toxic ways. So wrestling fans ad nauseum will go on there and scream to the high heavens and use it as a platform to essentially find arguments. They'll vanity search people. I remember putting up a tweet recently. It's a really good example, and then we'll move on. I spoke about how I found Shinsuke Nakamura to be ad nauseum, tedium, and boring on WWE's format. I think he has been an abject failure as far as what he was and what he has been presented. And I said, and I made a qualifier and said, that is not necessarily just his fault. There's a lot of factors that go into that. But at the same time, there's a lot of people who come into the company who have excelled and succeeded at what they've done, and he hasn't. Guys like AJ Styles have, Seth Rollins has, he hasn't. And I put up simply on a tweet that he is boring, and the fact that he lost to Otis is indicative of the fact that he has been lost. There's no good standing up for wrestlers once they've got to a point of boredom or abject misery. Why are you not standing, you know? And of course, I was met with, you know, there was one guy who clearly, I didn't put any hashtags on it. He had clearly vanity searched Shinsuke Nakamura and was looking for people, and you could go on his Twitter profile and see it. He had spent time of his day finding Shinsuke Nakamura's tweets about negativity, that anyone had spoken negatively about him, and then attacking these people with vehement like toxicity and aggression. And, you know, he tweeted me and he was just like, your opinion doesn't mean fucking shit, blah, blah. I was like, that's great, but it does. It carries just as much weight as yours does. No more, no less. You know, It is just an opinion. But ultimately, again, I'm trying to push it from a factual standpoint. I don't benefit from shit canning Shinsuke Nakamura, nor do I benefit from championing him. I present a product where I'm trying to give people an opinion on what I think of him in his current state. And I know factually that he is not nearly as good as he was when he was in New Japan. And when you state those truths, people get upset, because he's not upset because I'm lying. He's upset because Shinsuke Nakamura isn't the big star that he wants him to be. He's quite happy to ignore excess factors because he wants Shinsuke Nakamura to be excellent. And that is a tiny microcosm of what goes on social media every single day, every minute of the day, across 12 billion different topics or more. Ludicrous. It's just a massive sea of slurry.
Well, that's the thing. Like, bringing Shinsuke is a great example, because New Japan, before he went to WWE, he was one of the biggest milestones of that place at that very time. Then he went to NXT and he was still fire, but he wasn't as good as he was in NJP. And then he went to WWE. He got a couple of championship runs, but he didn't really do much with them. And like you say, he has become very boring. But then again, that's because WWE doesn't give the creatives to their own wrestlers. And I do get that in some cases that has worked for some wrestlers. Like you say, Seth Rollins has become one of the biggest and best wrestlers in the world. Roman Reigns has become one of the best. John Cena is one of the best. Undertaker. It has made so many great wrestlers, but it's also ruined so many wrestlers as well. You can't cater to everyone. You can't make everyone happy. And some people need to and a lot of people need to realize that WWE has made wrestlers. They have also destroyed wrestlers. Same as AEW, but no one talks about it. Same as New Japan, but no one talks about it. Wrestling is wrestling. It is practically the real world. So many companies in the real world has made people, and it has also destroyed people. It is real life. Like, you can't please everyone. And Shinsuke is an absolutely fantastic example, because he was the best in New Japan, and he is, and unfortunately, he is one of the worst in WWE. but that's because I just don't feel they can do anything with him. They can't make him look as big as he was. You know?
Yeah. The discussing shades of grey is very important because, you know, most wrestling is a horrible place for this because wrestling is very much dependent on fans see it as black and white. Shinsuke Nakamura is great in NJPW, therefore he will be great in WWE. And if he isn't, that's Vince McMahon's fault. And that's the bottom line for them. And that's not a bottom line because he's now in a different market. He's in a different country. He works for a different style of wrestling company. He works for a sports entertainment-based brand as opposed to an MMA-orientated brand, which is what NJPW is. All of these things factor into your argument. And this is what I do as a classic overthinker and a man of extraordinary mental health difficulties, is I take everything possible, and I'm clearly autistic, so I just take everything I can, get it all out to fucking line it up. And I'm like, right, put this all together and then form a crazy opinion. Whereas most people will just blindly grab their phone and go, yeah, Nakamura's great, fuck you. I'm just like, well, actually, if you delve into it, let's be honest, if you delve into it in great detail, it's not it's questionable what he does in different brands. And that's the problem. Everything has so many layers to it, and you only get to see one of those layers on social media unless you're willing to sit there and break it down. And of course, nobody wants to engage in a long-term healthy debate like we're doing here, which is discussing the facts behind everything that involves his rise. They just want that quick hit of adrenaline, that quick narcissistic moment where they can either get clout for what they say or they can engage in some sort of hurtful, hateful diatribe with their opposition. Social media has a podcast of its own waiting on Perspective, no doubt. So if you ever want a guest and you want somebody to rant about how Shinsuke Nakamura is crap in WWE, then let me know.
Social media is a cult in itself.
Yeah, the cult word is very important there. Now, cults. CWP has a cult following, apparently. Now you're going to be, you love that fucking transition right there. You love that shit. It's such good shit. Right behind me, you might notice the graphic. Obviously, you'll know it. There's also this guy here. That one. That guy. There we go. Him. Jake Hollister. Never heard of him. No, kidding. He's lovely. So you're going to be at CWP November the 7th. Reborn. This is an opportunity to. You don't need to sell the event because the event sells itself. It's a great matchup. We've got 6 matches on this card. It's going to be stellar. You may even get a sneaky appearance from the Harbinger himself, but we're not talking about that. What we're talking about is Geeza antics. You have 5 opponents to deal with at CWP Reborn in a scramble match. We don't know the time limit specifics yet. I assume it will be 10 to 20 minutes. Take your pick. Maybe you guys out there would like to suggest a time limit for our good friends. It'll be for this belt up here, the Dirty 24/7 title. Now, some people would say it's a very nice looking belt. Other people might say it's a pile of shit that belongs in a bin. It has been on a bin.
The bin won it. The bin won the title.
A bin held this title, which is astonishing within its own right. And I'm sure people are clamoring for that footage, so we'll dig that out. Or you can go back and watch my interview with Dirty Dave Dennis, who, of course, is not only the founder and proprietor of this belt, he's the current holder. Very strange. Some might say it's almost a conspiracy that he always ends up walking away with this belt. I'm sure that has something to do with travel issues.
It's passion towards it, though. Like, he has got such a lust. It's like Gollum in the One Ring, really, if you think about it. Like, he has to have the precious.
It's this image of him he's in a bin somewhere. Like obviously he's for the Isle of Wight, so he obviously engages in a bit of bin dipping. So like I say, ladies and gentlemen, I don't play heel, I am real. And the reality is Isle of Wight.
I love that.
And Isle of Wight is a fucking toilet, and you all know it is, and you only go there to die. You don't go there to work. Just get things out. Now then. And by the way, I'll be at CWP Reborn, so if anyone for the Isle of Wight has a problem with that, you're welcome to come up and try me, and you're also welcome to be shit canned back on that fucking poor excuse for a boat you call a ferry as well. Now then,
you're also welcome to buy a ticket as well.
Yeah, buy a ticket, by the way. Make sure you buy a ticket. Don't just turn up and look for a fight. At least pay if you're going to start throwing hands.
Pitchforks outside the hotel.
We want
Harbinger.
Cancel him. Bring him out to burn. You'll have a hard time. And I've waited a lifetime to say this, but you will need a lot of fire to burn me.
Oh my God.
if you don't understand that reference and you think I'm being homophobic, then you are a fucking idiot. Read up on your history.
I love it. We're getting wrong.
There's your fucking line right there. Oh dear. CWP Reborn. Before I start making this all about myself, CWP Reborn, you're going to be in this scramble match. Now, you have opponents. You have Frankie T, the urban goth, not just a goth, an urban one.
He's an urban goth.
You've got Jake Hollister, the debuting pretty boy from America, the United States. You've, of course, got two very exciting young prospects. One that CWP fans may recognize in Aeron Cruz, the cruiserweight.
Juicy.
Cruisey Juicy himself. Cameron Cream Anderson. No idea where the cream's coming from, but let's hope it hasn't passed its sell-by date. And then, of course, along with your beautiful self, we have the man who will basically be the centerpiece of this, the man who lives in the bin, the man who gravitates towards his precious, the 24/7 champion, the dirty 24/7 champion himself, the man, the myth, the
legend.
Dirty Dave Dennis. You're a legend loosely. Let's be frank, sunshine. What do you think about this match and your opponents? Who stands out to you as the most credible threat in this match?
The most standout would be, of course, I reckon it would be Frankie T and Dave. They've got, Frankie's got all the experience behind him in this match. He's had his years of wrestling behind him. And I am quite excited to wrestle him, in all truth. I think it would be fantastic. And he's a good sport as it is anyway. Dave, because he's just so good at talking shit. It's fantastic. And like me and him bat off each other all the time. So I think like comedy wise, it's going to be fantastic. Jake, I've never met him. I've never seen him before. And in all truth, I didn't know who he was until CWP put him in the match with us. And I am quite excited to see what he's about. You know, it's an interesting look. Obviously, the pretty face is going to be ugly once we've finished with him. Cameron, I remember starting at Rev Pro training, and he came in, and I took him through a couple of bits as well. So I'm excited to see what the young buck has got now that I'm no longer training. It will be nice to see how he's blossomed, and of course, Aeron Cruz. I cannot wait to beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah,
after that last show, you know, getting one up on me, I've only got to return the favor. And once that bell rings, I'm taking him outside. I'm going to demolish the kid. You know, I just cannot wait to see him crawling away like something out of a Scream film.
Yeah, so obviously you have afters with some of these gentlemen, particularly Aeron Cruz. You've probably got the closest rivalry with. Aeron Cruz nutshotted your very questionable tag team partner, Bobby the Bacon, and then, you know, Bobby the Bacon, and basically a police officer. Looks like the Bill's looking for extras, fam. You know, he nutshotted him, and then, of course, that provided a distraction for an incredibly handsome giant to put you on your ass.
An absolute gorgeous giant.
Hello. One of the highlights of my career. One doth fly when he takes the choke slam.
That was a good slam.
Yeah, it was a good slam. It was. You should know. You didn't have a choice in the matter, so I feel sorry for you a little bit. It was just business. But I have noticed
not moving the immovable object, am I?
No, so you've zoned in on Aeron Cruz because he's much smaller. And as I don't tag with Aeron Cruz anymore, and he's a little bitch in his own right, I'm more than happy to watch you demolish him while I cackle from the rafters. Aeron Cruz, what do you think of Aeron Cruz? Let's break down each one of these opponents. Let's put 30 seconds aside and have a look at each one. Aeron Cruz, his potential, his strengths, his weaknesses. What do you think he's going to have to offer in terms of wrestling overall, but most importantly for you as an opponent?
So Aeron, I think he's a cocky little bitch, of course, and he does look good himself. But again, he's going to be another one of them people. When I'm done with him, he's just going to be an ugly little slag that's just going to be at the bottom of my shoe. And like I say, after the last show, he's gonna get what he has come to him. Like he's gonna get what he deserves. In all truth, he's a lovely fella, and I do like him personally, but it's not gonna count when we're inside them four posts.
Cameron Anderson is the guy who, for a lot of people, will not have seen him this stage of CWP. He's grown a lot. He's got bigger. He's got swole. He's been working out hard. He has the best progression, in my opinion, of anyone in this match from where he started to where he is right now. He's a bit of a wild card. You don't know what to really expect from him or Jake in that regard. Does that make him more dangerous?
Yeah, they always say the underdog is always the one to watch out for. And I am excited to see how he's excelled since I last saw him. But just because he's got swollen and whatnot, muscle ain't going to mean nothing when you're on the floor like screaming for help. Like I'm a brawler, I'm a grappler. Like once you're on the floor, sunshine, you ain't got no chance of getting out of one of my locks.
Some inflammatory things have been said on Twitter recently. Comments here that really stand out. Now, Frankie T seems to be at the epicenter of this, and I can't help but feel like you might have zoned in on Frankie T because he's not quite the trash talker that the other lads are. So I can't help but feel that there's a little bit of bullying going on here. Not that I could give two shits, frankly, but I could care less about your feelings, Frankie, mate. But, you know, one of the lines that really stood out here, Dirty Dave, you know, so Dirty Dave's got involved. Frankie T noticed to you, he said, it's hardly a war. These are mere boys, and one that waited tables at the Last Supper, like Dirty Dave Dennis, isn't an issue, implying ageism, of course. So, you know, a bit disappointing from Frankie T. I'd expect better from an old veteran like him, but it is what it is. Picking on Dirty Dave because he is, I believe, the oldest man in this match, and certainly looks like he's aged that way, it has to be said. But the line that really stands out to me is when you pointed out that Dirty Dave Dennis is allegedly, it has to be said allegedly, I don't want you copping any legal abuse here, but you inferred that Frankie T's real dad is Dirty Dave Dennis, and then called him a slag and to take a seat. Obviously, I don't know about Frankie T's sexual proclivity, so we'll discuss that another time. And Dirty Dave Dennis did point out, but that would mean that I had fucked his mum, allegedly, of course. To which he put two thumbs up emoji. So I'm assuming that Frankie T has quite the mother. And it goes on and on, classic mum jokes, things of that nature. Yeah. Do you think it's acceptable to be picking on Frankie T like that on social media, Ebeneeza?
Well, I've got to like bully someone, you know. Like Jack, Aeron already knows how much I'm going to beat on him, so he ain't got to worry about the bullying. Like I'm already in his mind. I'm already in his head. So I've already got one down. Cameron, he's probably still getting tucked in by Jake. Dave, he's one of my brothers. So like I can't really say much shit about him. But yeah, he is old as fuck. So I've got to help him out somehow. And Frankie, again, I like Frankie. He's got a good performance on him, but I just want to hear more out of him. You know, like the things he was coming out with, if anything, he sounded older than Dave. You know, it's all right, like having a younger age on paper, but you need to get better talking, bro. You've got to come at me with some fire, because like I almost fell asleep reading some of the shit he was coming out with.
It was pretty fucking tedious, and that's coming from me. I'll try and be a nice guy. I don't actually. I'm not a nice person at all. You should not, under any circumstances, watch this podcast and think for any moment that I like you or care about your opinions, regardless of who you are. I don't like any of you. You're all pathetic, small
muggles.
I'm basically the Thanos of CWP. I am huge, and at any point I will snap my fingers and you will disappear.
People who have listened to my podcast, they will know how much I love and rate Thanos, and I believe Thanos should be a real thing.
It's why when the fingers are snapped, we've obviously had a little bit of a word with the balance of things, and we'll make sure the geezer, you know, retains his place in the universe because he's important to the growth of
I am.
Thanos.
I would be a great dictator, I'll tell you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You've definitely got the kind of, I could see you in a Central American island somewhere, just like deploying whippersnappers, larger men to just go out there and beat the everlasting shit out of your populace because they're not providing you with enough sugar cane. Sounds like a good time. Frankie T, you haven't got it in you, mate. You're not a killer yet. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to. The only thing he's dictating is his dick. Let's be real. Like, so it's it is what it is. Dave Dennis, is there going to be an allegiance of sorts in this match? Because I know that you are an honorary knob. And
I have been brought in to the Knobs faction, and I am pretty happy about that because me and Dave we had plans ages ago about becoming a tag with each other, but we never got the opportunity. So we sort of just like left it for a bit, and now that they wanted to turn the Knobs from a team to a faction, I was absolutely loving the fact that they asked me to be part of the faction. And in the match, like, there will be a bit of an allegiance. Like, we're both gonna have to beat on Frankie for trying to come back at us, but the other three will end up getting their comeuppance as well. But also, everyone knows that brotherly love goes a different way. So if there is going to be a chance to become a title holder, oh, sorry, Dave, but I'm going to have to take it. At least the title will still be in the Knobs faction. We can pass the butt if we want to.
Yes. Sensational Simon is part of the Knobs as well. Will he factor into this match? Will he be at ringside?
We haven't had this meeting yet.
So drive the car like the bitch that he appears to be.
Yeah, probably. More than and carry the bags, and maybe
speaking of dictatorships, I believe he might be your jester because he does the little dance to entertain people while you get the real work done by the looks of it.
Well, he just hasn't got the walk like I have, has he?
Or the testes.
Yeah. I've got the walk. Dave's got the speakerphone. Eddie Kenway has got the brute force, and Simon is, as you call, the jester.
Yes. If I've got some time, I might just paint all four of you as King's Court or something.
I do love Simon though. He has got his attributes, but they are still waiting to come through.
Yeah, lovely human being, but way too soft. I don't do soft, as you know.
Well, when he finally gets booked for CWP for an actual match, we will see what he is actually going to be like.
Yeah, he'll get his opportunity. I get the feeling he might have his opportunity when we announce the big main event for this show. But this is the match. Let's be real. All character traits and whatnot and trash talking aside, this is the match that I no doubt believe that you believe will steal the show. You believe that this match will take control of this show. And when it's all said and done, the paying punters, they will come away thinking that was the match where we really got our money's worth, where we really enjoyed ourselves. Is that in doubt for you?
Absolutely not. And this is going to be a little bit of a brag and a little bit of taking my own shit kind of stuff. The last match that I was involved in at CWP a couple of years back, we got not only match of the night, but we also got match of the year. So I was happy to come out of that as one of the winners, one of the successes. It was the exact same show that you chokeslammed me, bro. But also, that's one reason why I believe going into this match, come the 7th of November, it is going to be a show stealer. You have got other great matches. One that a lot of people are looking forward to would be Joel versus Franco, and I do believe that will be a contender. But to sniff my own shit, I reckon that we will have like a close first or second behind or in front of them. Yeah, but not only that, beforehand, I might be a little bit knackered at that show, but beforehand, I'm going to be wrestling on the exact same day for BCW, which I'm looking forward to. Me, Dave, and Simon, we're going up there. We're going to show them what we're all about. But then we're going to go to CWP. We're going to get the crowd rocking. We're going to get the crowd absolutely pissing their pants of laughter, excited to see people like get nutted by chairs, hit through onto ring posts and whatnot. It's going to be a match full of carnage, full of title holders. There's going to be probably more than likely multiple title holders, depending how far my foot goes through someone's chest. And you've got to remember as well, it's a 24/7 dirty title. So it doesn't mean the 6 people in this match are going to be the only title holders.
Yeah, that belt is defended 24/7 and it is on the line at all times to anybody, providing there is a referee in the vicinity, of course. So at any point, anyone, even a member of the audience, dare they be brave enough to venture into the squared circle. And I'm obviously not suggesting you do, because if you do, this man's going to smack the shit out of you.
You've got to contend with me, bro. You got to contend with me. If you ain't part of this match, you ain't getting in, son.
You don't want none of that. But obviously, the belt is available at all times. The scramble match, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, it will be pinfall or submission. There will be no disqualifications, of course. There will be no countouts. There will be falls count anywhere. And of course, at any point, any pinfall submission, that will count as a win. That person will then become champion. But of course, because of the allotted time limit, that doesn't mean that they can just walk away willy-nilly. They will still have to defend the belt and continue until the time limit. Of course, the person who holds the belt at the end of the match, when the time limit expires, will be the 24/7 champion. But that doesn't mean that they can just immediately get rolled up by a cameraman or something of that notion. That would be astonishingly awkward in its own right. So, absolutely. We'll see how things go.
Beware.
But some people might find it funny. Some people might think it's a bit of a joke. But the reality is that this belt offers 24/7 entertainment as well as being somewhat dirty. Wash it once in a while, you fucking bin dipper. Simple as that. You mentioned.
I'm excited as well, because during that match, we've also been told that there's a bar at the venue. So not only are you going to see great high flying, are you going to see some good entertainment from ourselves, but I'm also going to be getting rinsed as well. So if you want to come and have a little beer ski with me afterwards, absolutely. I'm getting the train, so I ain't got no driving. I might even take the next day off so I can get absolutely twatted. So come on, get down there, join me with some drinking, buddy, and I'm even going to be the title holder afterwards. I can guarantee you, son.
There you go. Who doesn't want to party with a champion at the bar? There will be a bar available, ladies and gentlemen. So Novotel Hotel in Southampton, November the 7th. Get down there nice and early. I believe doors open at 4:00. You'll want to get in there for first bell, which of course will no doubt be half an hour, an hour later. Get in there nice and early, get liquored up, have some fun. There will be cooked food available as well, ladies and gentlemen. So you can go and get yourself a nice hot meal and enjoy yourself. It'll no doubt be a cold one to wrap up nice and warm. And also, just to sweeten the deal a little bit, if you decide you want to drive to the venue, free parking, provided you put in your registration at the reception when you come in the door. The front door, you have an opportunity, tap in your registration. That'll give you free parking for the rest of the day. So you can come along, do a bit of shopping, have a bit of fun, and then get liquored up, watch some wrestling with your family, and enjoy yourselves. £8 for adults, £4 for children. Unlike certain places, we don't charge out the arsehole for your kids to come in and have a good time. We believe that wrestling is for everybody, and they should have it, just like my graphics, should be affordable, and everyone should be able to afford to come along and have a day's entertainment. We even have a performance from Seth Orioki, a star from The Voice, who is actually coached and a good friend of will.i.am's. So something else there for you as well. He won't be doing a full set, ladies and gentlemen, but he will be entertaining throughout, and he'll be available as well to chat to as well. A really lovely guy. So if you want a chance to get a photo with a certifiable...
He better not talk over me whilst I'm wrestling or talking, otherwise he's getting strangled with that microphone wire.
It should be pointed out as well that the 24/7 title, there's nothing stopping Seth having a crack at it. I wouldn't suggest he does that, particularly as he's not a trained individual, but you never, ever know. He could roll you up, mate, while you're not looking after the match.
Don't you even give him ideas. Don't give him ideas. I do not want to break his windpipe.
The idea that we get in the headlines because you demolished Seth Aoki would be incredible.
I'll be on Southampton News when I.
Yeah, now we'll be Seth Karaoke when you're finished with him. Let's be honest. There you go. You can have that one for free. Whoever decides to get in a mic battle with that geezer. Seriously, why don't I just give you all your fucking content and be done with it? Honestly, I'm like a good Vince Russo. That's alarming as that is.
That's alarming.
It is. Now, Berkshire Championship Wrestling, you mentioned that, BCW, you'll be wrestling on the same day, but I know that it's also quite a bit of a home for you, and it's a really cool venue, something different, and I don't feel like they've had enough promotion, and maybe that's on them as well, let's be real, maybe they don't promote themselves outside of their sort of area as much as they would like, but it's a cool place to work. The Bone Brothers have worked there for so long. You've worked there, a multitude of very talented wrestlers. Are you looking forward to getting back at it? You know, getting a chance to be a double booked, double shift on the same day.
Double shift, awesome. Mate. I told you, we don't do things by half.
No, we do not. We do them by doubles.
But yeah, like when the promoter, a very good friend of mine, Matt, he turned around to me and he said, are you free on the 7th? And I said, no, unfortunately, but I knew that prior shows are all, the bell times are always at 2:00. Will give me time to wrestle, will give me time to get down to CWP and wrestle again. Luckily, that was the case. So, and when he told me that we had that show on that day, I couldn't have been any happier. You know, CWP is my favorite home for wrestling. I couldn't love BCW like more than I possibly can. The fans are amazing. The locker room is amazing. It's full of all of my brothers that I originally trained with and grew a bond with. The talent is just insane. Like you say, the only issue is there's not enough promotion, but hopefully going forward, because there's going to be a few changes with the company. Hopefully going forward, there'll be a lot more promotion. Hopefully getting yourself involved with all of the video stuff will be better. Hopefully getting yourself involved with the posters and match graphics and everything. It's hopefully going forward, BCW will be put on the map, and I am looking forward to it because I haven't been there since day one. I got brought in. But Matty just wanted to give me a chance, and since then I couldn't be more grateful and more humble with the fact that he's done that, because like I say, it's my favorite place on earth when it comes to wrestling. Like I just love it, you know. And going forward, hopefully we will get other venues up together. Hopefully we'll get bigger crowds. We'll get other people from outside of the roster. Yeah, it's just going to be absolutely insane, and I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, they're going to be available to see in their own right as well, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give them a cheeky promotion, actually, because it seems like it's only fair, and luckily I have the poster right in front of me to do so. Now, BCW Berkshire Championship Wrestling, not necessarily exclusive to Berkshire, although most likely will be there, but it's November the 7th. Now, their doors open at 1:30. First bell is at 2:00 in the afternoon at Windlesham Club and Theatre. The postcode for that is GU26AA. And again, £6 for adults, £4. You're undercutting us, bro. What the hell are you doing here? £6 for adults and £4 for kids. So you could, if say you're, maybe as a father, you got your son for the day for whatever reason, maybe you've just got the one kid at home, and it doesn't matter how many kids you got, you can bring as many as you like. But it's a tenner for an adult and child to come and see great world-class wrestlers, yourself included. That's crazy value. It's going to be called Boneyard. I have it on good authority, and that may or may not have something to do with the Bone Brothers, who are terrifying, by the way. They look like they would kick the shit out of me. And I'm a sizable man who loves a good fucking rumble. And even I'm like, might give that one a miss if you're all right. But if you want to check out Berkshire Championship Wrestling, that would definitely be the place to start, 7th of November. And, you know, unfortunately, you can't attend both. But if you're more localized to that, then I absolutely recommend you check out that show. Either way, you'll get a slice of Ebeneeza The Geeza, which is very nice. And if you're brave enough to maybe jump in the car and go and see CWP as well, or catch some of that show as well, because you're more than welcome to do so, and we'll no doubt let you in regardless, because you're all fucking sexy. You know, you might get to see Ebeneeza wrestle twice in a day. And, you know, even Caesar himself couldn't pull off miraculous things of that nature. So there you go.
Well, there's only one Ebeneeza.
There is. There really is. Now, before we let you go, mate, is there anything you would like to discuss? Anything you would like to hype? We've spoken about your brand. We've spoken about your wrestling opportunities. And no doubt we'll have you on more regularly, because you are one of my sexiest friends. And I love honesty on this fucking awful podcast. So... It's awful for me, but it ain't awful for everyone watching. What would you like to talk about, mate? Anything you want to share?
Well, you know, bro, whenever you want me to come on again, mate, hopefully I'll have a better camera next time, because this looks like a filter, but it's just a shit old camera that's come with the laptop.
Looks like you're sitting in Rudy Root's basement, mate. That's what it does.
But yeah, whenever you want me to come on, bro, I'm happy to do so. Yeah, apart from just thanking everyone that supported me and Joe so far with the brand and the podcast, supported me and given me opportunities in the wrestling world, and just supporting me as a friend, as a family member, whatever. I just want to thank everyone that's been there, that just give me good words to say about me, even criticism. I'm always open to criticism, and I will always say to people, my inbox is always open. If you've got a problem with me, if you've got an issue with things that I've said, if you want to re-educate me, I've said it plenty of times on here, on my social media itself, on my podcast. I am a nice guy. I can have an adult conversation with you, but if you're just gonna like flood my inboxes by calling me a cunt, that kind of turns me on. So, like, you're not really gonna be gaining much from it. But yeah, like I just want to thank everyone that supported me personally over the past year, 2 years, however long it is, that I've been going through tough times, because now I'm at the height of my life. I am happy, and having people like yourself around me just gives me good energy and just keeps me wanting to do better in life, and wants me to stay here. I'm always here to talk to people if they just need someone to talk to, shoulder to cry on, and stuff like that. Like, my ears are always open to be bent. All right.
Yeah, I'm thrilled that I get to call you my friend. I think that's so cool. You don't meet enough people who are driven, who are motivated, but also really align with you in terms of their thought process, their mantra, their inner peace, their energy. And for people who might be offended by anything that's been said on the podcast, that's great. You're welcome to be offended. I don't personally care if you are, but you are welcome to be offended. And also feel free, like he says, to engage in us in discussion, and then discuss with us your sort of feelings and thoughts. You might even agree, in which case, by all means, message us still. And the most important thing is that you take something away from this. Ebeneeza The Geeza is a full-time geezer, and he's very fit. Obviously, his missus will attest to that most.
What a lucky devil she is for having me, and what a lucky man I am for having her.
Seriously, we've all been queuing up, and this bird just jumps the line. It's like, fair enough, fair dues.
She's done something right.
We've got to take the hit on that one. She's obviously an absolute stunner in her own right. So fair play.
Oh, she's a worldie. She is,
obviously. Worldies meet worldies, mate. That's how it works. That's how it should work.
It's fate.
But before we do let you go, social media. Where can people find Wing Clothing? Where can people find you? Because they'll want to check out that juicy merch. And I feel like drops are pretty close. They're pretty inevitable. By the time this comes out, this will be dropping fairly soon after it's recorded. So you're looking at anything around a month maybe to wait on big news, big merch and stuff like that. But there is still stuff going on in your social media, and you are dropping teasers and imagery and things of that nature. And people can get involved with seeing the process as well, which is really cool from the ground up. This is the time to get on board if you want to be a part of something cool, because you can get in on the ground level and then you can watch it grow. And who doesn't want to be? I always say to people, you can be first, but ultimately you should be the best. But when it comes to growing something, this is a chance to be both first and best.
Yeah, exactly. To be part of the the bottom of where we're starting off to then ending up hopefully in the future where we're at the height of our height and say, I started with them. It will be an absolute honor to have people a part of the Win family. With the social media side of things, on Instagram, we are Win Clothing Range. On Facebook, we are Win Clothing. We're not having Twitter on the Win Clothing. I just don't see the point in having Twitter.
Very smart move.
Yeah. But we're also like advertising it on things like eBay and Etsy and stuff like that. And the website will be up and launched when we launch all the clothing. And as to go for myself, on every platform, it is just Ebeneeza. On Instagram, you will probably find my name as Ebeneeza with dots in between each letter. On Twitter, you will get my wrestling kind of me, and you will get a lot of true me as well. A lot of people don't like it, but it's just my perspective. It's just me trying to be real, and it's me trying to engage with people and have conversations and debates. Some people don't like it. I don't lose sleep over it. But other than that, yeah, flood my inboxes with whatever you want to, even if it's sexy pictures. Flood me with them. I probably won't reply, but I'll take a look and have a little see if you'd look good in a Win Clothing t-shirt.
Oh, I know what I'm doing afterwards. Don't you worry. They're like a size of him. It's like, let's be honest, you should have a slogan where it's like, Win, it's such good shit. Because that's what I'm going to be saying when I get my hands on it. I'll be buying the merch because, frankly, why wouldn't you want to support the brand? I'm excited about where it's going. I'm excited about where you're going, most importantly. That's important to me as one of my closest friends. And I love seeing people who are close to me excel.
It will be great to have you part of the family, man. And you look absolutely astonishing in hats anyway.
Yeah, I am a hat man. That is definitely my thing. I have over 50 at this point to my collection, and I'm looking forward to bolstering that somewhat with a lot of lovely W's in the win column, because that's ultimately what we want to do, put a nice curly W in the win column.
Well, and let me just give you a quick preview of this one. You've got the W on the front, you've got Win on the side, and you've also got Win all in the middle.
Yeah, and of course with the strap,
very well made.
One size fits all as well.
One size fits all. Exactly.
Unisex as well. So yeah, what's really cool is Win is about honest perspective, honest free thinking, professionalism, but it's also for everyone, irregardless of gender and stuff like that, which is very cool as well. The thing is, Ebeneeza didn't need to say that because it should be a given in our society. But it isn't. We're all about being full equality, and equality means we don't care who you are, as long as you're a good enough person and you're free thinking enough, you can have a little slice of the brand for yourself by purchasing something from Win Clothing. Yeah. And that's exactly what you should all be doing. And if anyone doesn't buy it, well, I will find you and I will chokeslam you all the way through the floor. Simple as that.
Trust me, it hurts. Trust me, it hurts.
Yeah, trust me, it does. Seriously, it's the first time he stood up in years. He's fine. He's fine. It's all water under the bridge. The joys of being much bigger than everybody else is people just take a side view and go straight after this, this ugly little dweeb over here. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's been a pleasure to have you on, mate. I wish you the best of success. I, of course, will be, helping you out as much as possible and lending my expertise, so to speak, and whatever. But most importantly, I'll be there to encourage you as a friend and as family, which is what you are. And I look forward to having you back on this podcast very soon, likely after CWP Reborn. We may even get Ebeneeza on board for a cheeky little review afterwards on the Zoom. That should be good fun. And no doubt he'll have a gorgeous looking red and gold strap over his shoulder as he does so. He better do, because ultimately the rest of them, I mean, look at this lineup of people. Like, it's honestly, was the village people busy? Could you not get them?
But to be fair, I'll probably have more fun.
Yeah, to be fair. I mean, if I was going to go for one in the village, but I'd definitely be the police officer. I quite fancy that. I think that'd be quite fun. I could see myself as a giant camp police officer.
Well, I'm a ground worker by trade, so I've got to go with a man in the old hard hat helmet.
Well, Cruz, I have it on good authority, is also training to be an electrician. So we're almost halfway there. I mean, the urban goth is probably as close as we'll get to an Indian, isn't it? And he was the actual proper, I believe he was the only one who was actually gay.
Really?
That's the urban myth.
Wow.
There
It's fate then, really, isn't it?
It's fate indeed. Frankie T's having a really bad time today, I can tell you that.
He's getting rinsed everywhere.
Yeah, maybe I'll encourage him to actually get on the podcast instead of cancelling on me last minute. Oh, I'm sorry. Did we drop that one on there too? Get your ass on this podcast before November the 7th, you little pussy. So yeah.
Cancel. No, I was looking forward to that one.
Now, to be fair, it is because he has kids and stuff, so I don't want to bury him too much. Bless his heart. It's difficult when you've got, obviously, kids should take precedent, not over the Wrestle Plug, but over everything else. But, it is what it is. As you know, I'm not a big fan of kids myself. I don't plan on having kids, but hey, more power to you if you do have kids, ladies and gentlemen. And make sure you bring them kids along to CWP November the 7th. And if you can't make that, or if you're closer to the Berkshire region, then go and watch BCW Boxer Championship Wrestling at the Windlesham Sports Complex, because that's going to be a banger as well. That's two amazing shows on the same day, and that is proof alone that British wrestling is just fine and will continue to be just fine going forward. Ebeneeza The Geeza, thank you very much for joining me on the Wrestle Plug, mate.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will be looking forward to seeing you, if not before, at CWP. And it'll be good to talk to whoever wants to have a little chat. All right.
Oh, I'll be seeing you before, don't you worry. And like we said, ladies and gentlemen, don't panic. If you didn't get any of those social media links, all in the descriptions below on the YouTube video. And if you listen to this via audio, they are all in the descriptions for the podcast itself. Wherever you get your podcast, this is available going forward. So make sure you check it out. And of course, the most important thing, check out Wing Clothing, because it will be a big deal. Because if I'm working on something, I can guarantee you it gets my heart, my soul, my blood, my sweat, and my tears until it makes it. And ultimately, when you've got people like Joe and Ebeneeza The Geeza behind it, it will be successful. I can guarantee it. From myself, Aeron, and from Ebeneeza The Geeza, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug.
Bon voyage, peeps.
Geeza.